everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you guys are new. In today's video, we are going to be doing a full face of e.l.f. cosmetics. So recently I picked up a lot of makeup from e.l.f., enough to complete a full face. So the only product that I do not have from e.l.f. is a highlight, and I'm just not wearing highlight today. So nothing that's on my face is anything other than e.l.f. today. I recently picked all of those products up, or the majority of them, for an upcoming series on my channel where some affordable makeup was necessary or preferred. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into this full face of e.l.f. cosmetics. I actually just used this cleanser from e.l.f., so just wanted to mention that since we're doing a full face of e.l.f. here. This is the Bounce Back Jelly Cleanser. It does smell like coconut. I do think it has some coconut-derived ingredients, so if you're sensitive to that, be careful. But I love this face wash. I actually just picked up a new one today because I run out of it. That's the only one that I use. Since this isn't really going to be like a eye focused look, I'm just going to go ahead and start with the face. I picked up the e.l.f. Mint Melt Cooling Face Primer, and this is supposed to be like the Jelly Pop one, I think, but it smells like mint instead of watermelon. The pump on it is honestly like not that good. It doesn't really like pump out a lot, and you kind of have to like squeeze the bottle while you pump. I don't know if something's wrong with mine. Like there's just like a lot of air bubbles in it or something. That's not my favorite thing, but this is supposed to be, I think, like a dupe for the Milk Gripping Primer, Milk Makeup. This does kind of like feel a little bit difficult to rub in. I do have pretty dry skin, so I'm not sure if that's why, but I'm just not used to this kind of primer, like a really gripping base, but I feel like it'd be good for really holding on to the makeup you put on top of it. Today we'll be using the Flawless Satin Foundation from e.l.f. I got mine in the shade 120 Pearl. This is for neutral undertones. I've used this foundation one time and it kind of seemed like okay, so I'm hoping I'll like it a little bit more today. A lot of these products are actually pretty much brand new to me. I got them last week. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the tools from e.l.f., so I'm using this sponge from Shop Miss A. This is actually looking better than it did the first time I used it, I think. I did already use up the whole pump, so I'm going to add just a little bit more and I'm going to pick it up with my sponge. Okay, actually really am liking how this looks a lot, so that's awesome. I might have just been having like a weird day the first time I tried it, but I feel like this looks really nice. This also seems like a perfect color match to my neck. For concealer today, we're going to be using the Hydrating Camo Concealer. Back in the day, I had the regular one, and it was definitely too drying, but I have really high hopes for this. I've actually been using this concealer the last few days. This is probably my fourth time to use it, I'd say, and I've actually really been liking it. I remember the original concealer, like I think whenever I originally had bought it, all of the shades were like lighter than me, and I didn't really understand that. Like I felt like they didn't have a good shade range at all, and even this shade seems like kind of light for my skin, but I need to look back on their website and see what the shade range was for this new concealer. I know it's not really new anymore. I'm gonna lightly bring up the concealer onto my eyelids. I'm just gonna use whatever's still left on the sponge and kind of blend it up there. But I feel like that looks really nice on my skin, especially once I start to add powder and bronzer and all that. I don't think it'll be too light, but it does look very brightening. The last time I used this primer, I put the foundation on top of it. I think I didn't wait long enough to let this set down, and it kind of like really stuck to the initial spots where I put the primer, so that wasn't good. But I waited a little bit longer today and I feel like it's pretty even, so I'm happy about that. All right, I just went and bought this powder to be able to use in this video. This is the Prime and Stay Finishing Powder in Fair Light. I really wanted to pick up the loose powder that everyone seems to be talking about right now, the like Halo Glow, I think it's called, but I went to Target to purchase this because they don't have it at Ulta like in store, and I saw it there, but they only had the pink one, and I wasn't sure if I'd want the pink one or the other color, and I couldn't see both of them. I also just purchased 2 loose setting powders from Hard Candy recently. I didn't really want to add a third one, so long story short, I ended up picking this one up. Yeah, so we're just gonna try it out. This was $3, and I feel like this packaging and stuff, it's like really cheap. I don't think e.l.f. is even like centered on there, so I don't have the highest hopes for this, I'll put it that way. For all the brushes I'm going to be using, these are the ones from KJH and Spectrum, but I'm going to be filming a updated thoughts video about these brushes after this, and so I thought I'd use them all today. I use them like every day, but I was exclusively just going to use those brushes today. So I went ahead and used this brush here. This is the number 1 brush in the powder. I'm gonna tap it off a little bit, but there's not like a ton of kick up in the pan. I don't know if you'll even be able to tell, but I'm just gonna use this to set all over my face. My under eyes have already creased, so I'm just gonna kind of blend that out with a sponge and then try and set it pretty quickly. I'm like holding this powder and I feel like the packaging is gonna break within like 2 weeks of having this. That's the one thing that really stinks about more affordable makeup, is a lot of the time it feels like the packaging was kind of skipped on. Like the primer doesn't really, you know, push out product very well with the pump. The foundation, however, it's a really nice glass bottle foundation, and I like that kind of packaging. All right, so this powder actually seems to be setting my makeup pretty well. I'm actually really excited about this powder. I feel like for $3, even though the packaging feels like awful and I'm gonna have to be really careful with it, the powder itself seems really nice. The pressed powder that I've been using is this one from number 7, and it is almost gone. It might actually be worth repressing this e.l.f. one into the number 7 packaging because I have a feeling this is gonna break like before too long. I'm gonna use it, but I'm gonna probably save this packaging. I feel like it's gonna be inevitable. Like this feels so incredibly cheap. I just really don't see that it's going to last as long as the actual product would. Enough about the packaging. It's very affordable, so I'm gonna try and look past it. But yeah, I really like this powder a lot so far. I feel like my skin looks really good. Like it looks like skin, but it just looks like a little bit perfected, and I'm really into that. Next up, let's jump into bronzer. I got the one in the shade Forever Sunkissed. I have also used this a couple of times so far, so I'm gonna use this with the brush number 5, and I'm actually really liking this. The undertone is a little bit warm, I think, compared to what is my favorite, which is the Charlotte Tilbury one, but this is like the tiniest fraction of that price, so I'm not really that concerned about it. But it is a really pretty product. It doesn't have a ton of kickback in the pan, which I appreciate. I actually really don't like a lot of kickback in the pan, especially for face powders, because they get like really messy and then they end up getting everywhere. When it happens with eyeshadow, it's not as drastic in my opinion because you don't use as much eyeshadow as you do like a bronzer, for instance. So I prefer to not have a ton of kickback. This particular shade is extremely buildable, and the formula, like in general, seems pretty buildable. And I actually wore this today. I put it on at, let's see, like 6:30, I think. And I just took it off. It's about 4 o'clock now. And it stayed on perfectly. Now, I did use the setting spray from Ben Nye, which I think is the one like the Disney princesses use at Disney World. It is no joke, and it really like makes your makeup last all day long. I'm gonna take my sponge and just kind of tone this down a little bit because I think it is pretty warm toned. I really like a straight neutral or even cool tone bronzer. I guess it's more like a contour at that point, but it's kind of my preference there. Like I said, I don't have a highlight from e.l.f., so sorry about that, but I think they just have like the baked ones, and I don't really like the baked highlighters very much, so I just am gonna go straight to blush. I'm not even gonna worry about wearing a highlight today. And I'm gonna use this one in the shade Always Rosy. I wanted to show you guys a swatch of this blush because when I bought this online, their swatches are kind of like garbage, honestly. Like, I just felt like I really didn't know what the color was gonna look like, and I only had any idea because of reviews that I looked up and pictures on Instagram. So this is what the blush looks like in Always Rosy. I also picked up Always Earthy, and so I figured I would show you that one as well. I'm not going to be using it today, but it is more of like a terracotta sort of like bronzery kind of shade, and neither one of these have any glitter in them. Also, both of these blushes have actually different packaging. The one in Rosy is a little bit more like matte packaging, whereas Always Earthy is a lot more shimmery. So honestly, the one in Always Earthy feels better quality, but they feel like pretty equally bad. None of the packaging so far on the compacts is good at all. But again, I'm trying to remind myself, like, I know it's affordable, but yeah, they don't feel very luxe. So this does have a lot of kick up in the pan. I'm not sure how much you'll actually be able to see it, but it does have a good bit. I find like tapping it does help better, but if you were to swirl in this product, it creates a big mess. Once again, I'm going to use my sponge and kind of go over this. Today's look, I really want to kind of be more of like a fresh look, and then I got some fun lipsticks, and so I think I'm going to kind of use a fun shade that's a little bit more like bold or bright. So I'm kind of keeping everything else pretty neutral. While I've got my sponge, I'm going to just tap out the creases from the concealer on my eyelid. I'm going to use the number 10 brush and get a little bit of the powder. I'm just going to run this in the crease of my eyelid and a little bit above it, just to help with the concealer from creasing, since we're not really going to be using an eyeshadow palette today. For the eyes, I'm going to use the only e.l.f. eye product that I have. This is the, I don't actually know what it's called, but it's like their little liquid shadow. It's in the shade Pinky Swear, and it's just a light pink, like really glittery shadow that I think looks the best on its own without any other eyeshadow. I've tried to use this before with other eyeshadow, and it kind of picked up what you put it on top of, so I prefer it by itself. I'm just going to dot it close to my lashes, kind of like keep it on, I guess I'll bring it up and like put it on the whole lid. And then using my ring finger, I'm just going to tap it out. And then I'm going to kind of build it up a little bit more on the lid. I'm just going to tap it out a little bit, but not quite as much. The reason that I tap it out is because I feel like it helps it kind of blend up towards the brow, so it's not just like a solid line of where you put the glitter, and it just looks a little bit more blended or like spread out, and I think that that looks nice. You could just use the wand and not worry about tapping it out, but personally I think it just helps it look a little bit more seamless. I really like the way this looks, and especially once I put mascara on, I feel like it's just going to make the eyes pop but not take away from the bright lip that I want to wear. I'm actually going to use this eyelash curler. I went about, I want to say like a year without owning an eyelash curler, and I decided to pick this one up from e.l.f. Actually, I got their, I think the $4 one, and I've actually been enjoying curling my eyelashes again every now and then. I don't do it every day, but I feel like it adds a nice effect when I want it. I'm really planning on building up the mascara today. Anytime that I don't wear eyeshadow, I build up the mascara. I love a good clumpy lash look. For mascara, I'm going to use this one. This is the Big Mood Mascara. I love this mascara for the top lashes, but the wand is massive, and so it's very difficult to get it on your lower lashes. So for now, I'm just going to put it on the upper lashes. Because I have such minimal makeup on everywhere else, I'm not actually sure if I want to do lower lash mascara today. I think I'm going to kind of do everything else and then decide. Okay, I totally forgot I was going to use this black liquid liner. I cannot do liner if I've already have mascara on, so I'm sorry I'm not going to be doing that today, but I just wanted to give this little pen a shout out. This is the e.l.f. H2o Proof Eyeliner Pen. This is such a good eyeliner. I think it's like $6. It lasts forever. Like, even if you wear this thing every single day, you'll probably still have it for probably 4 to 6 months, like even if you use it every single day. But I can use this for about a year and then I replace it because of the expiration date. But this is such a good eyeliner pen. It has one of the little like marker tips, and it is just a very nice, thin, but very opaque line that just looks super nice. Like, it's a really good one, and it does not budge, but it comes off when you wash your face. I really love this eyeliner. I'm gonna go ahead and do the brows. So I'm gonna use this little combo here. I've got the Wow Brow in the shade Taupe, and I've also got the Ultra Precise Brow Pencil, also in the shade Taupe. So first things first, I'm gonna use the pencil. I'm gonna use the spoolie. The spoolie on this is not the best, but it's really, to me, like the product that counts more. I just appreciate that there is a spoolie because I do use that in my brow routine. This is one of those tiny, like micro tip kind of brow pencils. And all I'm gonna do with this is fill in where it's like pretty sparse, but I'm not being careful with it at all. And then I'm going to use it just in the very beginning of the brow. I'm gonna go in with the Wow Brow. Honestly, you could probably use one or the other depending on your brows, but I have been enjoying the combo the last couple days, so I figured I would do that in today's video and just show you both. But you can see it just adds like a little bit of like a, almost, it's kind of weird because I know it's a brow, but I feel like it kind of blurs them because they look a little bit more fluffy and just a lot less defined. Just super simple. That took like less than a minute to do both products, and I like the result of it a lot. Lastly, we'll do the lip product, but before we do that, I wanted to go ahead and put on this setting spray. This is the Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. This does not have the best mister on it. When I first tried it out, I think in my haul video, I thought it did, but now that I've used it a couple days, it kind of spits a little bit. Like, it looks nice, but you have to really commit and press down on it or else it will spit at you. And then I also hold it kind of far away, but it smells so good. I love the smell of coconut, and it kind of smells just like this. So this is a nice little duo. You could also use this to prime the face, I think. I've never tried it for that reason, but it is really moisturizing, and I have sprayed it on my bare skin before. I just didn't put foundation on top of that, but I would assume that this would be a pretty good priming mist too. Yeah, this smells so good, and I feel like it just really helps all the makeup melt together, and I feel like it looks so good and dewy. Every time I put on setting spray, I take my damp sponge again and just lightly tap over everything. I just feel like this helps the setting spray really sink into the skin, especially if there's like a few droplets or anything from the sprayer. Last up's gonna be lipstick. I have several of these little plastic packaging lipsticks, and I don't know what color I want to go for today. I'm kind of feeling that. I don't know. That's the shade Raspberry. Also kind of thought about going a little bit deeper with this one, but then there's this fun purple shade in the shade Sugar Plum. Okay, I'm kind of thinking either Raspberry or Sugar Plum. I think I'm going to go with Sugar Plum today. I kind of want to use Raspberry, but I feel like Sugar Plum would go okay with the sweater that I have on, so we're gonna go for it. I wore the one in the shade Cider all day today. I'll put a picture here of me wearing this shade. It is so nice, and I got a couple compliments on it today, and it's like a $2 lipstick. Like, you really can't beat it. Okay, I love how this is looking. So again, this is the one in the shade Sugar Plum, and I just think it's so fun. I really like it. I think this is the first time I've actually done a full face of one single brand, and I am so pleasantly surprised by how this looks. I can't stop looking at my skin in the viewfinder because it just looks so dewy and nice, and I'm obsessed with how this is looking. Seriously, like, this is so pretty, especially with the glitter on the lid and then the pop of color on the lips and everything else just being kind of minimal. You can still see my freckles underneath my makeup, which I think is really, really pretty. If you guys haven't been able to tell, I'm very excited about this look, and I'm actually really pleasantly surprised with all of these products, especially the new ones to my collection, because I've only used them a couple of times. This is the first time I have actually worn this lipstick, and it just looks so good. I feel like especially for the price, but even just in general, these are really nice lipsticks. Like I said, I wore the one in Cider all day today, which is more of a like neutral color. It's more of a brown, but I had this on all day long, and I only had to reapply it once, and it was because I had eaten, and so I reapplied it, but it held on so well. And when I took my makeup off to film this video, I had to like really rub my lips and wash them because that lipstick did not want to come off. And for a $2 bullet lipstick, that's like unheard of because it's not a liquid lipstick. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. So I'm just super impressed with this entire face of makeup. And I'm honestly kind of glad I didn't go repurchase that bite-sized quad for this video, because I think that this really made the look like all come together with just that nice sparkle on the lids. I probably won't do these on my channel very often, to be totally transparent, because it is kind of expensive to purchase one product from every category within a brand. I'm not going to be able to do a lot of one brand complete tutorials or full faces of makeup on my channel because I just don't really have the budget for that, and I also don't want to have that many products in my collection. So I hope you guys all understand that, but nonetheless, this was a really fun video to film, and I am really happy it turned out like this because I'm about to film 2 more videos in this makeup. So yeah, with that being said, you guys, that's gonna be it for me today. If you enjoyed today's video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Bye!